Welcome to another episode of Bucket List Coach Web Show Live. Well, hello. This is Cindy, your host at Bucket List Coach Web Show Live, and I'll introduce you to my guests in just 1 minute. So you may ask, what is Bucket List Coach Web Show all about? It's all about making the most of the dash. So we have the day that we're born and the day that we pass away. What are you doing in between that time? And make sure that you follow me on TikTok, on Facebook, and Instagram. And if you share this very video after subscribing and commenting on YouTube, you could share it either to Facebook or you could share either to LinkedIn, and I'll gift you a 5-night hotel stay. I also have 3-night hotel stays. Some of the 3 nights are Vegas. I have Palm Springs. 5 nights I have Hawaii, Cancun, Cabo, Puerto Vallarta, Costa Rica, Thailand, and so many very amazing bucket lists that you need to mark off your list. So I cover the hotel and you covered the tax. So a little bit more about the show. I actually was a chef for 25 years and got into travel, and I'm inspired by Anthony Bourdain. And every June 25th, you could celebrate his life on his birthday. Just do hashtag Bourdain Day. Also, a big plug to National Day calendar. It is National Culinary Arts Month, and today is National Friday. And I want to do a plug for this restaurant, Bone Emmy Gabby in Las Vegas. Another one for your Las Vegas bucket list. And of course, it is Ice Cream Month. And today is also Beans and Frank Day. So today I have my friend Tiiu Napp. How are you?
I'm doing really well. It's nice to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I want to do a quick announcement first. If you are here on Facebook and you like to comment, please go to StreamYard.com/Facebook first. That way we can see all your comments. And it looks like Mary West is in the house. There you go. Well, thank you for the connection. Thanks to Mary West. That's how we connected. And so let's kind of go into your backstory and then we'll talk about your bucket list.
I have a big bucket list.
Yes, and a great backstory.
Well, my backstory, I wrote a book about it because it's the easiest way for me to explain. So this is my book. It's called Healing the Holes in Your Soul. Mm-hmm. It's my journey through a life of an interesting episode because my parents come from Estonia, which is why we're here today to talk about Estonia. But along the way, what happened was I ended up getting involved with some not so nice people, ended up with domestic violence, all that other stuff. And I don't need to really go into that because it's in the book. But what happened along the way is I really love this book because it's become a personal development book. You can go in there and I have questions. It helps you also grow and learn more about you through the stories that I share because it's not always about me. So there's like little questions and stuff in the end. And, it's not really where we all come from. It's who we become along the way anyway. And like what you're saying, Cindy, is we get from the time we're born to the time we birth out. That's where that's us. But we come from a wonderful source of love, and that's what my book is based on, too, is how when you listen to your inner voice, when you listen to that little whisper inside, that little whisper inside will guide you to amazing places and amazing people come into your life, much like you, Cindy. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be here today doing this. And, you're such a blessing to so many because of what you do.
Thank you. Wow.
So
don't make me cry. I already cried once today in my 7:00 show.
Well, let's not put the tears on, okay? But this is what I wanted to share because as I was writing the book, and I'm going to backtrack here. I spent a long time in abuse, and when I got out, it was like the 4th of July, 1986. But the abuse was so triggered in my brain that I was still living in fear. And I lived in fear for a long time, and I trusted people I shouldn't trust. And the next thing you know, all that kind of stuff kept on happening. I I picked the wrong guys, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah,
And
been there,
finally I
done
thought,
that.
okay, that's it. No more guys, right? Then I thought, okay, no more guys for a while. I'm just not, I'm not going there. And what happened was that then one day, in a desperate moment, I start praying. And I was raised in church. I was raised in church. And I thought, okay, this is it. And next thing you know, that prayer got answered in a way that I had no idea it would. And I met a guy who suddenly became my best friend, and I've been with him for a long time now. So yeah, prayers do get answered, not necessarily the way you want them to, but the best way
In
for you.
God's time, or in the universe's time. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. And along the way, I met Mary West because I promote a nutritional supplement, which is a totally different topic. But I met Mary West, and Mary West led me to Patrick Snow, who led me to my book. Well, not quite to my book. Mary West led me to Patrick Snow. Patrick Snow started working with me because I wanted to honor my mom and dad. Okay,
That's awesome.
they had birthed out. They had passed away. And their story through World War II in Estonia really, really, really struck a chord in me that people in our family need to hear. And what I didn't know back then was that book that I is now like at 45,000 words and still in the processing stages, led me to meeting my spiritual coach, which is really cool because Patrick sent me there. So
Yeah.
I mentioned him, and his name is Dr. Michael Gross, and he's mentioned in my book as well, because if it wasn't for Michael, I wouldn't write this book. He said, people need to hear your story. So on that note, going back, I want to thank Mary West. I want to thank Patrick Snow. I want to thank Dr. Michael Gross, because I'm here today in a brand new place in my life. And that's wonderful, because now going forward, my bucket list just keeps getting bigger. It really, truly does. So thank you so much for letting me kind of get a little bit verbose, but would you like me to continue?
Yes, I'm going to actually open up the pictures right now.
Okay. I'm going to start with my mom and dad were both born in a country called Estonia. And Estonia is one of the Baltic countries. And what you're looking at right now is the Viru Gates. Okay, the Viru Gates are the entryway, one of the main entryways that continues to exist today, that was built in the 14th century, that takes you into the old town Tallinn. Okay, my mom was born in Tallinn. And as you go through the gates, and we can move through the images anytime you like, Cindy, okay? But as you go
talk
through
a little
the gates,
further on that same topic, I'm actually opening up another background.
Okay, perfect. Okay, the Viru Gates were built in the 14th century, and they're the main gate. There were several other gates as well, but due to the World War II and some of the other things that have happened in time, these are the key gates that people go through now. And when you go through there, the cobblestones that are on the ground are the same cobblestones that Peter the Great once walked on. And the farther in the distance, you can see a steeple. That's one of the steeples that indicates, I believe that's the one to the old town hall. And the town hall, we'll have some closer images of that. But when we go through here, the one thing I like is that right before you get to the gates, there used to be, in 1991 was the first time I was there. And in 1991, there were, the Soviet Union was still in place. And at that point in time, this was occupied by the Russians. And what happened after that was, you can see it now, that this is part of the section that's in the front there in the middle between the two gates. That's that's a hotel that was built probably in 1960. But what you see is that they have taken the old medieval town and preserved it, because it's part of now, I believe it was the European Cultural Center declared this a very, very special place. And you'll see, as we go through the show, you'll see certain plaques that are on certain buildings, and they're denoted that these are historical and cannot be taken down. During World War II, like I was saying, they were bombing this medieval town. They were bombing Tallinn. The Russians and the Germans were in battle trying to occupy the country. And what ended up happening was that some of the walls and some of the towers, and these are two of the most key towers, have all been, have been destroyed. So we've got probably about a half left of what used to exist. And I might be off a little bit on that. So, but you'll see that the roads are narrow because back in the day, this is the lower part of the old town. The upper part is called Tompia Hill, and we'll get to that in a minute as well. But there are a lot of things that surround this city, and it was basically a fort and a key location because it opens up to the Baltic Sea. And if you go east along the Baltic Sea, it ends up in St. Petersburg, Russia. And it's also, there's the town hall. It's also south of Finland and west of, not west, but east of Sweden. And the reason I bring that up is that my mother was born in this city, and she lived here until the time that the bombing began. And at that point, she was 14 years old, and her mother had left her father, and her mother took her and her 7-year-old sister. And during amidst all the rubble, they ran for Germany because my grandmother had a friend in Germany. And so they were trying to get out. And you'll see that this is the town hall. And this is the town square. Okay, the town hall, that's part of the town square. And oh yeah, you're going to see a lot of these little signs. This one here was created in 1422. That's what they call Rahib. I'm sorry, I'm getting my mouth a little bit scrambled, but it's one of the oldest apothecaries in Europe, and it's across from the town hall, and it's the only one that's been continuously operating since the time it first opened. I've been in there. Part of it is now a museum, and the other part of it, which is really interesting, is during the medieval days, there was a Russian Tsars that would shop here, and at that point in time, the pharmacist sold snakeskin potion, mummy juice, and powdered unicorn horn. Today, they still have some of that on display in the original display cabinets and counters that were back in the day of 1422. It's been consistently running, and it's been owned by 10 different generations of the same family. This is another little part of the town square. Wow. And if you're looking at this picture, you'll see that the town hall would be on your right, and the pharmacy that I just spoke about is on the left. And you see little signs like this that have been there. They've been hanging there since they were created. Some of them go way back. There's another little angle. You'll see a lot of side streets off the town square. What you're seeing right now, though, is what they call a piece of Tompia Hill, Tompia Castle. And Tompia Castle is in the upper level of Tallinn. And it's separated from the other part because this is the parliament. This is where it was ruled by the powers in place for northern Estonia not to be governed by the citizens of the community and the people, which is where the town hall is. They also have a lot of parliament things going on down in the town hall, but that's more city oriented. This is more regional. And if you look over on the left, there should be a slide coming up that also shows Pickherman. Oh, that's just another night shot. It's cool to walk through this old town. There.
Oh wow, that's the one I noticed yesterday. That's beautiful. Oh my Lord.
Go back one. Go back one though. There you go. In the background there, you see Pickherman, and in the top, in the corner on the right, you'll see just the portion of the castle I was talking about. And that's the existing wall that was built over 800 years ago. And the reason I wanted to point out Pickherman is that's the tallest tower, and it looks across the Baltic Sea. So it can see what's going on long before any ships can come to shore, which is incredibly important, especially during times of invasion and whatnot. But I've climbed that tower, and tourists aren't allowed up there anymore, but I climbed that tower in honor of my mom 9 years ago after she passed away. And I had an escort up there. It was the coolest thing. So, and if you look from the top of the tower off to your left, you'll see some images of it later, but the church where my mother was christened also shows up in this. So it's been, it's a very powerful spot for a lot of people. And depending on who's in control of the country, right now it's the Estonian flag flying, and we want to keep it there. Okay, this is, hold on, I've got to switch my notes.
Well, let me do an announcement really quickly, because I'm getting a lot of comments, but you really have to go to StreamYard.com/Facebook. Otherwise, every time that you comment, it's going to say Facebook user, and we don't really get a chance to thank the actual Facebook user whose name it is. So make sure you go to StreamYard.com/Facebook. You're going to click the link there, and then both Facebook and StreamYard is going to connect, and then we could see your name. Okay, next slide.
Perfect. Stay right there.
Okay.
Right across from the Tompia Castle, you'll see this building. It's called the Alexander Nevsky Cathedral, which was built in 1900. It's a Russian Orthodox church, and it's actually very, very elaborate on the inside. It's beautiful. And you'll see in Estonia, especially around the old town, there's several different churches. There's a lot of beautiful, different kinds of, whether it's Gothic style or Baroque. You'll see different styles. This is one of my favorite churches. This is St. Nicholas Church, and it was built in the 13th century. During World War II, it was bombed, and the steeple was knocked down. I have a couple of news clips of pictures of what it looked like during World War II. And a lot of damage happened in the old town. And this was one of the churches that they really, 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 really wanted to restore, because there's so much history in this church. And I put a few extra images in here of that. So Cindy, it's okay if you move along.
Okay, we have a comment here. So let me just show that.
Absolutely. In Estonian, this is called Nikolisti kirik.
Thank you, Bettina. So let's go to the next one. So we have a few minutes left on the show. It's normally 20, but we can go till 30 after if you want, because we have a lot of pictures to look at. So maybe we could just pick and choose some pictures here.
Okay, sounds good. This is the doorway. We can just move right through these.
Okay. Oh, my Lord. Beautiful.
It's no longer a church. It's now a museum.
Oh, my God. Wow, look at that.
Absolutely beautiful inside. And it has some of the original tombstones and stuff in the floor. They've built it into the floor, but that's what it looked like during World War II.
Amazing. So what are some accommodations in the area? Because I am a travel agent, but I'm not familiar with this part of Europe. Can you kind of tell myself and my audience what is available in that area?
There's several different hotels that are available, and you can actually get hotel lodging and in the old town. The one I stayed at was the Imperial Hotel, and it was very, very nice.
Oh, wow.
And you can also go to a B&B where I stay at Oskavilla.
Mm-hmm.
It's just outside of town, and you can walk to it. Okay, this church here is Karli Kirik. It's Karli Church. This one is important for me because it's where my mother was christened when she was an infant. And this one was built in 1670 by the order of the Swedish King Charles XI. It burnt down during the Great Northern War in early 1700s. And the new one, which is what you see now, was built in 1862 to 1882. It took a while. But the reason I wanted to bring this one up is if you have the opportunity to get into to listen to one of the choral presentations that they do there, the acoustics are incredible because of the vast open interior. And it's definitely well worth your time. It's just down off the hill by Tompia, where we were earlier. And now this is another church. This is the Holy Spirit Church. And it's in the old town on the other side. It's down in the lower portion. Beautiful. But every single church, we'll just stop here for a sec, okay, Cindy? Mm-hmm. Every single church has so much history. The wooden clock that you just saw was built in the 12th century. And there's so many artifacts in every building you go to. So make sure that you connect with Cindy, and she'll have some information on how you can plan your trip as well. What you're looking at right now is the Estonian flag. And in the distance, you'll see where there's like a performance stadium. Every 5 years in Tallinn, Estonia, people come together to do an international song festival. And there were thousands and thousands of people, as you see. They have a traditional dance. They wear their traditional costumes. And then they have traditional music. And the key reason why I put these in, and you can move along, Cindy, and you'll see some costumes.
Okay.
But the key reason I put this in.
Wow.
Isn't it cool?
Oh, is that from your lens?
No, I didn't do that. That's actually somebody else's. But
wow.
I believe that was like a fisheye lens that did that one. I saw that and I thought I had to share that.
So everybody close their ears, but what this is called, it is actually called #earthporn. This is absolutely amazing. Oh my God. Oh, look at how amazing.
So as we go through these, the costumes denote the region where the people are coming from. So every region has different dance moves. They have the choreography. I went to this dance festival and stop here. Okay.
Okay.
I went to the dance festival and it was on this huge football stadium. And as they danced, there were thousands of dancers coming in from all over the world that had Estonian roots, and they were dancing to Estonian music. And I'll share a video on, with you later. Maybe you can air it because the music is beautiful. And the song festival goes for 3 days, but it's only every 5 years. And with COVID, they had to skip a year, I think. Something happened and they weren't able to do it because of COVID. So I'm not quite sure when the next one is, but it will be coming up soon. This, what you're looking at right now is, back up real quick.
Yeah, we only have a few more minutes left on the show. So.
This is what they call Kadriorg. Kadriorg is Peter the Great built this castle for his wife, Catherine. And on the flip side, it's where a lot of the political embassies and powerful figureheads come together and meet. But I wanted you to see this. It's also a museum inside. It's beautiful. And we can move on.
Is there something you want to touch on that I could scroll by? And then anybody can actually go to Friends of Bucket List Coach web show and you could see, I believe there's around 55 pictures. You could go join the group and you could see all these pictures. So is there anything else you want to cover before we close out?
Mostly what I've covered right now is that wherever you go in Estonia, there are lighthouses. Those are on the island of Hiiumaa.
Wow.
You go back to the gates, but there's so many different things that, don't limit yourself to just being in the city, because the last thing that we saw, there was a statue and there was of a woman holding a cross. That's Rusalka. They call it Rusalka. That was in honor of the mariners that perished in the sea. They were Russian mariners that perished. So there's a lot of history there. And I think that more than anything, it's well worth your while to connect with Cindy to plan your trip, because you can be lost in the old town for days. And, I've been there many times and I still haven't seen everything. It's a wonderful place to go. You get, you have a little taste of Estonia now. And all I wanted to tell you is that this is where my home is. This is where my heart is, because that's where my mom and dad come from. The island is Hiiumaa, where my father was born, where the lighthouses were that you saw. And more than anything, if you have questions about Estonia, I'm here to answer them, to help Cindy, to help you as well, because this is a beautiful, beautiful way where the past is being embraced by the future and the present. The skyscrapers are now surrounding old medieval buildings because they can't tear them down. What a great way to preserve life, right?
Exactly. So one of the things I like to do at the end of the show, first thing is I'm going to have you do a shout out. So any shout out that you want to send to anybody. And then I'll do shout outs and then we'll do a quick YouTube, TikTok video. So go ahead and shout out.
I have a shout out to Mary West.
Definitely.
Mary West, more than anyone, Mary West and Patrick Snow and Dr. Michael Gross, because if it wasn't for all three of them, I wouldn't be doing this. And I wouldn't be sharing my family legacy with you. So I'm thrilled that I'm able to talk about Estonia because that's in my heart. Thank you.
And I want to do a shout out to my CEO of American Travel Bureau based out of Lancaster, California. It's right around an hour out of LA. We had another friend of mine who joined from one of my travel clubs, and she did a testimony on all the value of being a travel agent, because we have a program where you can be a travel agent for yourself, for conventions, and for personal travel, not to do it as a full-time job. Because a lot of my friends who are getting in, they have 2 or 3 businesses or 2 or 3 jobs, and they want to travel a few times a year. So it gives them ways to save money. Of course, Mary West, you are my girl. Oh my God. She is my number one referral queen. I just love her so much. We've known each other probably for right around 2 years. And let's see who else. I'm going to see somebody that's on here, and her name is Pat Williams, and she is one of my business partners, and she is in the digital business card system with me. And if you want to check her out, she has great apparel for women, actually, to make you look amazing and get the right bra size and girdle and all this amazing stuff. You really need to connect with Pat Williams. And let's see who else. Tiiu, you are my new sister of abundance. And I am so grateful for this relationship. I remember when we first chatted, we known each other about 2 years, and we first chatted a couple weeks ago, and I was almost in tears just to hear how your story actually almost mimics my story. So I'm just so, so grateful for you.
Thank you. I'm so thrilled that you and I have connected. You warmed my heart. And I wanted to just say that Patrick Snow, if anybody's looking for a book coach, he is a phenomenal book coach. And and if you're looking for how to heal the holes in your soul, try connecting with Dr. Michael Gross, because he taught me a valuable lesson. And if it wasn't for him, I would definitely be hiding in the corner, just like Mary can remember when we first met several years ago. She can attest to how shy I was. And
exactly. And I know how you feel. And I want to do a shout out to Mary again and Patrick, because I was able to get my book rolling. I actually have an entrepreneur podcast on Fridays, which I'm going to do that on hiatus at the moment because I'm working on my book, Being a Referral and Gratitude Rock Star. And you guys will get to know all about the back end of my life and how I started and how I make a difference and how I give referrals and how it's so important to live every single day in gratitude. So on that note, what are you going to do over the next couple days to make a difference to a complete stranger? How are you going to make them smile?
I'm going to be myself for the first time, for the first time I actually know who I am. And just like my camera used to be my shield. Most of the pictures that you saw were my pictures. And the camera was my shield, and I would hide behind my camera. And now it's not my shield anymore. It's the way I carry the message of unconditional love with the world. And I have met some amazing people simply by being tonight is a full moon, and I'll be out there again because I'm meeting amazing people. And when we connect, I don't know them, but we're friends by the time we leave, because I share who I am, and we talk cameras, we talk, whatever. And the thing is that as we go forward and we're working to help other people, that's our mission. That's my mission and goal. If I had to leave one thing with everyone, listen to your inner voice. Always, always listen to your inner voice, because whether it's your gut, your intuition, your soul, however you want to name it, it's who you truly are. And it will never, ever fail you. Out of everything I've been through, the book, the abuse, and everything, I heard that voice that kept saying, get up, get up. It's not your time. Get back up. And I did. And I'm so glad I listened. So, always listen to your inner voice when you get stuck somewhere with a tough decision.
Hello, my name is Cindy, your host over at Bucket List Coach Web Show Live. And today we talked about the Estonia bucket list, but something that's really important is to make that most of that dash. So we have the day that we're born and the day that we pass. What are you doing to make the most of that dash? About 15 years ago, I seen my life flash before me, because all my entire life until my 40s, I was existing. I am now living. So Tiiu, tell my audience how you're making the most of that dash and you're not existing anymore.
Wow, thank you so much. I would say that for most of my life, I was existing. I went through a lot of domestic violence and stuff. And but I never wanted to sit there and just go, pour me another one. There was more for me than that. And I knew it. And now what I do is I've realized that, it's that whispering warrior that's inside, that little voice that says, okay, that didn't go well. What are you going to do? You're going to whine about it. You're going to get back up and figure it out. Right. What did we learn from here? And what my goal is to help other people listen to their inner voice, because we all have one. We had it the day we were born, and we will have it when we birth out. When our body is no longer functioning, our soul keeps on going. And there is an amazing feeling when you understand that you can connect on a totally different level. So one of my greatest goals is to let people know that, hey, all the answers that you're seeking, and we hear this all the time, the answers that you're seeking are right there inside you. You just have to turn the volume up so you can hear it. And we get so caught up in the world today that we hear, we got all these things going on the external world, that it kind of muffles the inner voice. The world is screaming. There's all kinds of stuff going on. And it's not always pretty. But the good thing is that when you find a quiet place, which is why I grabbed the camera, I go to the quiet place, I grab my camera, I go out there, I shoot incredible pictures, and I just listen to my soul. My soul says, oh, take a right turn here. Okay. And I end up in places going, I don't know why I'm here. But the next thing you know, I see an amazing photo opportunity that I didn't miss because I listened to this. I listened to my little voice. And, now I'm all excited because I'm traveling and I have all these photos and I have all these places to go. I want to live to be 200 because I don't want to miss anything anymore. I've missed so much. And I look back and I go, that's okay. I missed it, but I've got it now.
That's what we live every single day, like it's our last day of breath, because we do not know. So one last thing, tell my audience your website for your book, and I'll put you in the green room.
Okay. My website is healingtheholesinyoursoul.com. And it's right there. Got it?
Very good. And if you are looking for a publishing coach, it is patricksnow.com. So I'm going to put you in the green room. Thank you.
Thank you.
So make sure that you go here to YouTube on Bucket List Coach Web Show Live. You're going to subscribe and comment, and then you're going to share this very video or any of my videos to either Facebook or LinkedIn, and I'll gift you a 5-night hotel stay. That is where'scindynow.com. That's Where'sCindyNow.com. And I will see you at 6 o'clock today. We are talking about an amazing excursion company in Roatan in Honduras. Shaka, baby. Woo!